She's okay. Okay. Good evening, Roman Rosa. Good evening, Roman Rosa. Good evening, Roman Rosa. Good evening, Roman Rosa. I'm getting a feedback on my test. Spread the word. We are coming live now. I'm getting a feedback. Yes. Good evening, everyone who is already tuned in. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Captain, I'm hearing a feedback. Captain, do you have something on, like a laptop or anything?
I got a light. Is it a light, you say?
I could hear a constant feedback.
Let me put on mic, see if it's me. I got a light. Is it a light?
Okay, let's see. I could hear a constant feedback. Yes, that's funny. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, we're coming up shortly. Let me see. Just got to make sure. Coming up shortly. Let me see. Just got to make sure. Oh, good evening, Cheryl DeWitt. Good evening to you, sweetheart. How are you? Expecting the DA to be joining us shortly. Oh, good evening, Cheryl DeWitt. Good evening to you, sweetheart. How are you? Expecting the DA to be joining us shortly. Don't know why it seemed like I'm getting such a feedback. I don't know if anyone in the background could hear what I'm hearing. Dennis, can you hear any feedback? Are you hearing a feedback?
Man, it sound like you got birds in your
That's what I'm hearing. I'm getting such a feedback. I don't know if anyone in the
You may have to go off and come back on again. I don't know what's wrong.
No,
Oh, I don't hear it no more now.
no, I don't hear it anymore. Okay. Okay. Ready for the conversation. Thank you so much. The feedback is gone, isn't it? Cheryl can't hear it anymore. Let's make sure that everyone is aware. And as I mentioned, cannot be seen on Avril Francis, where everyone will be thinking that I'm coming live. It's all about the Avril show. They have to just sign up and yes, it's gone. Thank you so much. They just have to join the page because that's where the show is. So I thank you so much, Cheryl, and everyone who tuned in already. We will be coming up. Dennis, how was your day? Is it hot? Or you walk around with a live AC? Hugh Roy, how you doing, honey? How you doing? The chef, the big chef in the country. How you doing? Can't talk about a chef now because I might have to bring Dennis along to taste your food and tell you if it's really good food or not. So be careful. See, he's sipping, but Dennis, I'm sipping too.
Hey.
With my cup. Cup came all the way to me. Yes, I'll come to you and I got to come and taste it. I got my cup with me. So this evening we're coming up. We're going to talk some important things tonight. And I know the DA going to be joining us shortly. And there she is.
Hello.
There she is.
How you doing?
What's up, family?
Good, good. Are you back home? Are you still here? Right? You say you
still in New York. I think we got to move his house on a trailer. Well, thank you so much, DA, or Bronx District Attorney. For those who hear the word DA and still confused, DA, yes, or Bronx District Attorneys here with us. And as I tell everyone, this show is only on the Avril Show. Don't look for it on Avril Francis page anymore, because I'm taking the show to a different level and I have to get it where it's supposed to be. And I have an announcement to make, and I'm making it with the DA first tonight, that because who else is better to tell than the DA? Because you go wrong, you'll be in front of the DA. So I'm just, it's a lot going on. I'm now managing a radio station in the Virgin Islands.
Oh.
Yes, and it's broadcast throughout St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John's, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and you will be able to hear it right here on the app. You just go on your phone, the app is there, you'll be able to listen to the show and have some great things coming and a launch. The station been around for many years, but the owner now is family. So asked me to come on board and manage the station. So I'm just doing a whole lot of things, and soon and very soon, DA, you have to join the programs because, hey, the same people here that is watching is the same people listening to the same station. So instead of going elsewhere, why not do it with family?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on that, Avril.
Thank you. It's a show, it's a station that everyone is familiar with, Radio 1000. And it's just new management now, new owner, but the station is known to the Virgin Islands. And so thank you and welcome back. No stranger, as I say, I don't have to say, introduce yourself. I don't have to introduce anyone. We can go straight into the program and after the show. Thank you so much, Cheryl DeWitt. You don't miss this show. But
Cheryl.
Yes. And good evening, Problem, Hugh Roy, and everyone that's on. So right now tonight, before I start the show, I have to take the opportunity to congratulate you, DA, on such a performance. And I would not have anyone laughing at you on social media because it becomes such a big thing, this karaoke that you had with Chuck Schumer. And
Oh
Letitia,
yeah, that was funny, right? Oh my
it
God.
was the best I've seen in a long time. But I must admit, it is something that every time I look at it, it just brings joy to me. But thank you. I didn't know you can sing like that.
Oh, I can't sing. I can barely speak. You kidding me? Singing? No way.
But you
No
know,
way.
Chuck Schumer outdo you, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, he was doing his thing. So
Yes. So so tonight we are going to go into some important things, and I know you have a lot going on tonight, and you took the opportunity to come on here. So I'm going to give you the floor shortly, and we're going to be talking about some things that's important, and one of them is the Bronx gun buyback. We're going to
right.
be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about some great things that I see you're doing here for the people of the Bronx, and some of the cases that that was dismissed and thrown out, and I'm going to allow you to elaborate on that. And to
Mhm.
everyone who tuned in, we thank you so much. But for right now, we'll turn it over to the DA.
Well, yes, Ava, thank you as always for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to work with you. You are one of my partners in the community that I can't get this work done without you. It's good to see Captain Mohammed there. I met him in person. We met at the Ava Francis Foundation dinner, which was fabulous, by the way. It was
Thank you.
such a great time to be there, to see so many people we haven't seen because we had the social distance and we've been, locked down and stuff. So just to see all of those people and the great honorees that you had, it was just a fantastic evening. So I was really happy to be there. So again, thank you for the work that you do each and every day for our community because we
And
wouldn't
thank you
get.
for taking the time.
No, no, always for you. Anytime I can, I'm gonna do it, always. And I see Attorney Hugh Campbell here. Everybody's Attorney Hugh Campbell, one of my mentors throughout these years. So so I wouldn't be able to do the work that I do each and every day without people like you, all of you on this call. Um, it's amazing work, but it's a tough job. And this weekend was, again, we had a rough time here in the Bronx. I know so many people saw the video of those two babies almost shot by that guy who's out there in the middle of the day shooting at another member. One guy crawling on the ground trying to get away from somebody shooting at him and runs right into two, kids on their way to the store buying candy. How innocent is that? They should be able to do that. They should be able to do that in their community. And now they're traumatized for life. And we're looking for another person who has brought gun violence to our community, and I'm just going to continue to fight against that. I'm going to go against it hard. I've made it very clear that I'm serious about investigating these shootings now. So even though people shoot and they get away, or you know I'm going to go hard on it, just like I would any other serious matter, just like I would do a homicide. We're really going to put the time and effort into investigating those and bringing them to justice, and hold them accountable for the violence that they're bringing to the community. So again, as I've done on this show before, and as I keep saying, I'm speaking directly to those shooters, directly to those who are making those decisions to pick up the gun. There are alternatives to violence. Okay. We talk about alternatives to incarceration. That's after somebody's arrested and they're going through the system. I'm talking about alternatives to violence before you commit the act. Think about it. Think of other ways of coping with what you're dealing with so that you don't pick up that gun and bring, that kind of, violence to the community and to yourself. Because quite frankly, that young man is out there now. You know what? The community looking for him too. It's not just the police. Because you know what? There's rules of engagement in everything, even in the streets or whatever. But that is not part of the rules of engagement to shoot over babies like that. Nobody, that's unacceptable in any circle, criminal or otherwise. So, that person made that decision to pick up that gun and chase after somebody and then shoot over those kids. There was an alternative to that. He chose not to do it. Now the consequence, you have to pay the consequences. So I'm going after him,
Go ahead.
investigating that shooting just like I would if somebody had died, one of your family members was severely hurt or whatever, that's what we have to do. So I'm speaking to those individuals that's going to pick up the gun. Don't do it. Let's find another way. You don't want to deal with the police and the alternatives. We got community-based organizations. Captain Muhammad is on there. He knows this work. He knows how this is done. Use people like him in the community that can talk to our young brothers and sisters before they make, that decision. Because once you make that decision, then you're going to have to deal with me. And I'm not easy. Okay?
Come on now.
I'm not going to be easy on this because I can't see my babies getting shot like that. That could be any one of our children or grandchildren, So we got to take that serious. And I want them to know that I'm taking this serious. I'm giving them a chance before they make that decision to do something about that choice. But once they make it, I'm all in. Okay, I'm all in, and I'm gonna use every resource that I have to go after them, to hold them accountable for that shooting. Some people say, well, she's treating shootings like homicide. Well, hey, let's, if I'm gonna be treated like I murdered somebody, I'm gonna really make it, count. No, I don't want you doing that. I want you to choose not to do it. And that's what the message you should hear. I know they're listening to me too, and I care about them. That's the other part that they don't understand. As a DA, I still care about them because I don't want to see them hurt anybody, and I don't want to see them hurt because somebody is going to hurt. When you pick up a gun, you're either going to shoot somebody or you're going to get shot. Those are the alternatives that really happen, along with jail. Choose a better way. And we need to, make it known in the community that we have alternatives to violence, that they could choose that over picking up the gun. And, I also feel for their families because, you may have raised your child right. And, they may not be your biological child, but you are, you're a parent in the community, it takes a village. And, deep down inside, this is not necessarily a bad kid, but he's making bad choices. But those parents of those kids, whether they're really, street hard or just on the peripheral, I feel for those families because they worry each and every day when they see their kids leave the house. They don't know whether or not their child is going to come back home. So I know the parents are afraid that I'm going to get to them or that the streets are going to get to them. So I'm speaking to those parents as well. If you need somebody to talk to, okay, to help you navigate through this, to try to get your kid, on a better path, to help them make better choices, again, reach out to my office, reach out to the community groups that are out there, ready, willing, and able to even help those families as well. So I'm doing everything that I can. I told you, I announced my Bronx Peace Plan, peace standing for precision enforcement and community engagement. So I'm doing both, okay? I'm going to do the enforcement because somebody like that shooter got to be dealt with, okay? So, but I'm not going to go against everybody in the neighborhood, every young Hispanic male or Hispanic, male, black or whatever. It's not all of our kids. It's only a few. So precision meaning we're going to deal with those who we know are causing the harm. Those who in the community know who are causing the harm because they're making the community afraid. We got to take back our community and tell them, you have no place here. Take that somewhere else or pick another way. Choose that alternative. So the precision enforcement is going to be that. Shootings, I'm taking very serious, investigate them. Just like even if somebody had died, I'm going to investigate it till I get to the person who caused it, to bring them to justice and to hold them, accountable. But at the same time, community engagement, dealing with the Cure Violence Group, the crisis management team, those who are on the ground that can meet people where they are to try to get to that young brother or sister saying, hey, before you pick up that gun, think about, what can happen and help them through the alternatives, to violence. I want to have more play streets so a kid can go somewhere and be safe and play. A lot of kids, families don't have money for these day camps, cost so much money and things like that. I want to bring free play streets, and I'm working right now with the PAL and other places to bring some of those resources to the community. We'll have resource fairs, anything that I can do, speaking to the community, asking them what resources they need to make their life safer and better, I'm going to do that. So that's Bronx Peace. And then, of course, part of it is the gun buyback, which I hold periodically. The last time we did it at St. Luke's Church, the great St. Luke's Church, as Mr. Campbell knows very well, and we got 136 guns. We collected the most guns out of any DA's office in this city in quite a long time. So I'm doing it again at the Christ Church at 860 Forest Avenue, between 160th and 161st Street in the Bronx. That's right in the middle of a lot of NYCHA developments, a lot of gang activity, a lot of violence and shootings going on there. We need people to turn these guns in, because that gun can stop a shooting like we saw the other day. That gun can stop a person with mental illness in the home that picks up that gun and want to commit suicide. That gun will stop a kid from picking it up and shooting themselves or hurting somebody else. So, no questions asked. They're not going to ask you your name, your social security number, your email, nothing. No questions asked. Full amnesty. You turn in a handgun or a pistol, you get a $200 gift card, and I'm throwing in a brand new free iPad as well to sweeten the deal. So, please spread the word. Get those guns in here, because we need to get them off the street.
Wow, I'm telling you, I might have to go get some and bring them in.
Well, I don't know. I mean, as I go out in the street and talk about the gun buyback, have very frank conversations again with our young people, or our folks in the community. Like, now ain't the time for me to give up my gun. Okay, that's like a personal choice. But what I can tell you is this: you hold on to that gun, you might end up shooting somebody, or somebody going to shoot you because you have it. So that clearly is not a good outcome. If you don't turn it in now and we catch you later, then you got the consequences of the criminal justice system. That's not going to be a good thing. So why not take the opportunity to help do your part in making the community safe and turning it in? So they said, well, I never thought about it like that. Like, if I don't, what'll happen if I get caught with it? Well, that is what is going to happen. So, again, speaking directly to those that are doing these things, there's a better way.
And the greatest part about it, not just the singing that you do and the DA that you are. It's good evening, Josephine Kelly. Yes, it's such a great thing that you have such a great relationship with the community, that young people feel they can talk to you. People want to come and talk to you. There was a time in my life I never thought I'll see who the DA is. I never thought I'll ever see what a judge look like, and now the DA is speaking. And when you feel that connection, it makes young people feel comfortable. But when they have that relationship with you and then they have to come face you to say, yes, I am the killer, they probably drop. Because you say, I saw you. I've seen him before, and it's like a family that your heart bleeds when these children come into your courtroom. So, it's a good thing that you're doing. I remember the last gun buyback it was last year at St. Luke.
October. Yeah. October.
I remember some of the people on White Plains Road giving me the feedback and the take on it. And exactly as you say, some of them, I think their concern is, they have a beef going on. They know they have a beef going on. I ain't giving up my gun because somebody might come after me. But like you said, when you collect 100 and something guns, that's 130 guns that you remove from homes or the car street or something where people have their guns. So it's a good thing. You may not get it all, but there is a gun that somebody wants to get rid of and they don't know how to do it. And you're giving them the opportunity.
Right, without any consequences, no questions asked. So this is the time to do it, so you don't deal with the collateral consequences that come with getting caught with that gun.
And for everyone who is watching the show, if you're out there, just spread the flyer. You never know, because sometimes even in our very own home, we don't know what's going on with our family. So you may post it up there and you're surprised to know a family member or somebody say, what? And they go. They don't have to tell you, but they see. People don't always respond, but they act. So, I don't know how you do it. And today I was saying that I wonder if there's a drink that they make for the DA and the politicians, because the way you run, I will see you at this event and it's hot and everybody say, I got to go. And I turn around and see you at 3 more. And I say, how do they do it when I'm here crawling in my house? So we just encourage you to take care of you, because regardless to the job you have to do, you have family and you have to take care of yourself. So we can't find another DA like you. I look around the Bronx and I don't know, if you was to walk away, who would be our next DA?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I don't know. I'm still here for a while, so don't get rid of me just yet.
No, not yet. We ain't ready for that, but we're gonna continue to press the gun by back, and we're here with Dennis Mohammed. We're gonna continue the show, and Attorney Hugh Campbell, and we got to talk about our election. That is tomorrow. I got to put my hair up, put my sneakers on. I'm gonna be on the road all day again. Like they saw me today. Avril, what are you doing out here? Ain't no voting going on. I said I'm just giving out a little flyers. And when I came home the other day, my friend had to post on Facebook, somebody help Avril because she's losing it out here. Somebody blocked me and decided, oh, I can't put this here and I can't put that there. I said, if they're there, then this going up. So I did what I had to do. Okay, just give it to her, let her go. Yeah, because you got to stand up for what you believe in and stand up for your rights. Ain't nobody going to block me from the public posts, but tomorrow we'll be out there, and this is our Bronx District Attorney, and she's here tonight to talk about. But before you go, DA, I want to find out about, you had some cases that over 6,000 cases that was dismissed here in the Bronx, and the marijuana situation. Can you give me a little feedback on that before you leave us?
Sure. Well, the state legislature this year finally decriminalized certain amounts of marijuana. So now it's legal to possess less than 3 ounces of marijuana. You can smoke it as long as you. Places where tobacco is prohibited, then the marijuana is prohibited as well. So there was a lot of pending cases where now it's legal to possess it or even sell small amounts. So I can't continue to prosecute them. So I had to make sure that I went into court and dismissed all of those pending cases. But at the same time, there were cases that we had prosecuted, but people had warranted. They didn't come back to court. So when they were charged with it, it was legal then. Or some of them have even pled guilty and were supposed to come back and pay fines or do community service or whatever, and they didn't come back. I even went back in court and asked the judge to bring those cases about, vacate the pleas of guilty on those who pled guilty and dismiss those, and those who are out on a warrant, even though legally we might still be able to prosecute them because they were guilty at a time when it was against the law. I even dismissed those. So in total, I dismissed over 6,000 cases for people who had marijuana charges against them.
But is there any where they're told that but they legalize it, so they can't arrest them now?
No, it's not totally legal. They've decriminalized a lot of it, which are those small amounts which people were getting arrested for anyway. They were over policing our communities. You can't tell me that 95% of Black and Hispanics are the only ones that smoke weed. That ain't true. White people smoke weed just as much as we do, but their communities weren't being policed in the same ways that ours was. So, that disparity is what brought the legislature to the point that they finally had to say, look, we have to legalize it. Plus, as a DA, I could tell you, those small amounts were not jeopardizing the public safety. So anytime we have criminal laws here, well, if it's not jeopardizing the public safety, I need to concentrate my time and my resources on those things that is causing a danger to the public. So, that's just part of, even before they passed the law, I had stopped prosecuting low levels of marijuana anyway, because nobody's going to jail for that. You're not sending nobody to jail. Well, that's just not going to happen. So we stopped doing it long ago. And then once it became decriminalized, then there was absolutely by law now, I can't do it. So That's why I did. So I was happy to do it. Over 6,000 cases. So that's, people that don't have to have those collateral consequences. Because again, those warrants, those convictions stop people from getting housing, from getting jobs, from, getting an education, immigration consequences, so many things. And people need a second chance, and especially coming out of this pandemic, folks need some real help getting back on their feet. So you don't need those convictions, on your back, stopping you from being able to progress. So I was happy to do it. I think it was the right thing to do. And I just hope that people are now taking advantage of it and really moving on with their lives in a positive way.
Thank you so much, dear. That's a lot. 6,000 cases dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
That oh my goodness. I don't know what kind of cabinet and wherever these cases are put, but there's a lot of work to do in filing. 6,000 cases dismissed. So when
And
the
that
young
talks
people
about how many arrests and stuff the police were really making. You see that in one fell swoop, I could dismiss 6,000 petty, and those were warrants and things that went back to the 80s. So this stuff was hanging over their heads for all of that time. So they're now going to be removed from their record.
6,000 cases. Some young people out there really need a job to do some filing and get off the street and say they can't find work. This is our Bronx District Attorney. I thank you. If there's anything you want to say before you leave, because I know you have other engagement this evening, but the gun buyback, we'll continue to push that. We congratulate you again on a job well done here in the borough of the Bronx. Thank you for being the person that you are, that you could make any young person feel that they could stand up and talk to you and have a conversation. I cannot forget when I saw you going to the bank and I said, what are you doing here? It's like it was so strange. The DA going to the Bronx? The DA have a life.
I gotta go to the bank. Like, people see me in the grocery store. Oh my God, what are you doing here? It was like, I gotta buy groceries. And one little girl, she was about 10. I was in Popeyes, the last place I should be, of course. But I'm in Popeyes getting something to eat. And her mother said, do you know who this is? This is the Bronx District Attorney. And the little girl was like, why would the Bronx District Attorney be in Popeyes? I said, I'm hungry. She was like, I can't believe she eats Popeyes chicken. Like, yeah, I do. I shouldn't, but I do.
Oh my goodness. Listen, it's an honor having you. Thank you so much for helping to take back the streets, take back the Bronx, bring the banks where it's supposed to be. We know everybody's going to talk about crime, and we're going to be here with Captain Mohammed and Attorney Hugh Campbell. What's his new name? Everybody's attorney.
He's everybody's attorney. Everybody's lawyer.
Yes.
Everybody. Hugh Campbell's everybody's lawyer.
Thank you so much, DA Darcel Clark. Thank you for stopping in and being a part of this program.
All right, thank you.
Continue to stay safe.
Captain, we gotta get together before you leave.
Oh no.
Dinner or something, all right?
Girl, I found somebody that's like me, a female Captain Dennis. I salute you, Dennis. You they call you fishy grits and old.
All right. We'll see you soon, boy. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Okay. Good night. That's our district attorney, and we have to tell you, we're going to continue with the show. We're going to talk about the election tomorrow. We're going to talk about what's going on. I see Hugh Campbell is drinking his stuff, and I don't want to drink mine too, but I got mine's right here too.
Okay.
It comes right here too.
Hey, look.
No, your glass can't touch this. This travel. This came all the way here.
That's right.
Mine is coffee. I just want to
Okay.
All right. So right now we're going to talk about some things that's going on. We had Juneteenth, and sometimes I try to figure out what is Juneteenth. A lot of people talk about it. We understand it. And as I told my son, when he asked me, I say about it, I say, I'm not going to sit here and explain to you. I want you to read. The same phone you have in your hand, as Attorney Hugh Campbell say, it's a walking dictionary. Read all about it. I'm not going to explain it. So we have our DA there just now, and this show will be promoted after, because a lot of people might be looking for it on my page, which is not. And that's why you got to love her, right, Cheryl DeWitt? Yes, so 6,000 cases dismissed. Talking about 6,000 cases of arrests. You could imagine that those officers turning in these young people. I don't know how we do it, but Attorney Hugh Campbell, tomorrow, New York City, is it a special? Tomorrow is a holiday, isn't it?
Not really. Tomorrow is just a busy day. It's election day.
I was thinking it would be such a holiday because you know you got to be out there. People, but you know they figure, well, you finish work at 5, you can go to work. Some people go to work at 9. They vote before, but I'm glad that I got it over with. And I'm telling you, everybody's behind it. I see somebody just wrote up, Mr. Zach, say vote Vanessa. Oh, Zach, you're not fussing with me tonight. Okay, so vote Vanessa for what? If you're gonna write it, come all the way. You say vote Vanessa. Vanessa who and for what? So you gotta write it and come good. We have Captain Dennis Mohammed here with us tonight. Captain, how do you feel about the gun buyback?
Well, first, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come on your show. I really feel so honored. And I want to thank our great, the everybody's lawyer, Brother Hugh Campbell, who I'm growing to see him, and we crossing so many paths together. I'm just glad to know him. Here's the good thing about knowing him. He could take a bad case of mine before the DA and she'd drop it. So I like that kind of relationship. But let me say this. I was so moved, honest to God, with our great DA. My heart was just, she was hitting all the right tunes. She comes with a genuine compassion. And the sad thing about it is that we don't have women like her in those kind of positions too many times around the country. For her to dismiss 6,000 cases, which she has the power to do, that means, and I like her purpose or reason, because a little marijuana can hinder.
Yeah, I forget when I saw you going to the bank. For her to dismiss. Go ahead.
Many people are hindered by that little substance. And I was so honored. Her passion to find this guy and to prosecute him to the full. I wanted to ask her, was there a reward? Because I wanted to put up $1,000 for the peacekeepers towards that reward. And I wanted to ask, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance.
And you could have the opportunity to ask.
Yeah, I think just to answer your question, Captain, I thought I saw the one of the candidates put up, I think it was a $2,000 reward matched by, I think there was a matching reward. So there's probably about a $5,000 reward thus far.
Well, I want to add 1,000 in the name of the peacekeepers towards that. And I was so moved about what she said that I'm hoping while I'm in the Bronx with her and you, Brother Hugh Campbell, and with Avril and Shirley, I would like to work hard to get at least between 200 to 300 men in the Bronx to volunteer to become peacekeepers in this community so that we could do what she said, that if our babies wanted to play out in the park, they could be surrounded with 100 peacekeepers to make sure they guarantee that they can play. We need to start hitting the streets and being visible, just being visible. And I'm not saying that we're going to be able to stop nothing. We're not the police. We're not trying to come like the police. We are peacekeepers. Our very presence is the hope that they would see these brothers out there and say, you know what? I just don't think I'm going to pull my gun out today. I don't think I'm going to sell no heroin today. And I'm serious about that because we have done this in 32 cities, and I'm anxious to know such great friends and such political support that's right here in the Bronx. So I'm going to take that initiative under these circumstances. But of that video that went national, I've got so many phone calls. I was on the phone with 13 former police chiefs. This is my consulting team. I don't tell too much about it. And I'm discussing with them the seriousness of the increase of gun violence. And one of the things that I like what the DA said we could talk about alternative of incarceration, but she won't, that's the back end. That's after the shooting, after the killing. She want to get ahead of the curve. And I like the fact that she's talking about giving an incentive of $200 and a new iPad. I think that's what she said, $200
Yep.
card in the iPad. Well, now I'm getting ready to go out and steal a gun just to get the $200 in the iPad to turn it in. No, I'm just kidding. But that's a great incentive. Now, here's what I would like to say about the buyback. Me and Avril had some conversations. I gave my opinion. I'm gonna keep that opinion to myself because my opinion is never to destroy a good initiative. There's always a pros and cons. I'll leave that alone tonight. But what I will want to say in support of our DA, and I want to say this to the audience, every mother has the opportunity to be able to contact her office. If you got a son and you know you've gone through this drawer to put his clothes in and you've seen the weapon, and you know your son is not responsible mentally enough to have a weapon, it ain't because he's afraid. It's because having a weapon is somewhat now macho. Then that mother, if you love your son, call the DA, call her office. And not the police gonna come, but we trying to take that gun from that young man before he makes a bad choice to use it. And he won't be prosecuted. He won't. I think that's the kind of conversation, because there is no way a mother not know that her son's not carrying a weapon. And even though they try to justify it for protection, let me share this with y'all right now. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan asked us about 10 years ago. He said, if you got to follow me with a weapon, don't follow me. I want all of the believers in Islam in the nation to get rid of your guns out your house. I have to tell you this. No member of the Nation of Islam have guns unless they are licensed authority. If they're police officers, if they're having a gun as part of their employment, that's the only justification. And so you could imagine how we got rid of our weapon. If there was a buyback back then, all the Muslims been standing in line, dropping their guns off because the minister told us to get rid of our guns. And I didn't want to sell my gun to somebody else, so I had to destroy and get rid of it. But the point of it is, when you see us around Minister Farrakhan, we never, in my 43 years securing him around the world, never carried a weapon. And when you look at us, we don't carry weapons. Never in the Nation of Islam, we carry a weapon. Now, if we don't carry a weapon, we don't have them in our homes, then what happened? Well, Captain, what happened if somebody break in your home? Well, that's the part of, do you have faith in God? But I didn't say I didn't have no Louisville Slugger. I didn't say I didn't have no Louisville Slugger. But I guarantee you, if you run up in the captain's house, you're going to see everything on top of you. You'll be touching everything to get out. But the bottom line, I agree. Weapons makes people make bad choices who are not mature enough to carry them. So I want the DA to know I'm in total support. And if she got one gun off the street, she got one gun off, that's one that we could clap and say, I don't know if it's grandpa old gun, I don't know what it is, but we got one weapon. I want this to become so that we could appeal to all the moms. I would love to see us just say, listen, when I was in Chicago, Illinois, I remember Jane Byrne. She was the first white female mayor in Chicago, Jane Byrne. She went to live in Cabrini Green. That's like, I don't know, that's like living in Fort Greene or 40 projects. She went to live there, just the mayor. She wanted the people know in the Cabrini Green that she wanted to be down to earth. She was not prepared for the roaches that was in Cabrini Green. This woman had no clue the roach problem that Chicago had. But before she went into Cabrini Green, they did a weapon search of that whole project. They went in and they went door to door looking for weapons because they didn't want the mayor in Cabrini Green. And now what it did, it really got people to get weapons who was illegal out their homes, and they was not able to bring them back, and they didn't. So I would love to see. Now, we're not taking away people's constitutional right to protect themselves. If you legally own one, that's good. But you know, Hugh and Avro, that the majority of the guns on the streets are illegal guns. It is the most difficult thing to deal with. We're not talking about legal guns, illegal guns. So I tip my hat to my sister. I'm so proud of her. Man, I mean, I'm sitting, my cheeks are sore because she's committed and she's down to earth. And of course, she like me. I stray every now and then to Popeye, but I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna judge it. You know, one thing I didn't do, get in that line when they had that chicken center. I didn't do that. But the bottom line is, I'm down with her, and I want to help her, and I want to help get peacekeepers on the streets of the Bronx. And let me tell you, unfortunate as this incident may be, Avril, about the man shooting, this may be an increase of people turning into weapons. So her timing is absolutely on time because she will probably maybe get double and maybe triple of the weapons she got last year because people saying, man, I'm tired of guns. Let me get this out of my house and boom. So I like that, and I think it's great. And I mean, I'm just excited.
Good. Thank you so much. And Attorney Hugh Campbell, I know you're not a criminal attorney, but you're connected with every attorney that the people need. As someone said, do he do this case, or say, if he don't handle this case, you have someone that handles the case. So you're in good hands. But we are here, we're talking about the gun buyback, which is coming up, and we're also talking about the crimes and the violence on the street. And that is why our election is very important, because people think that, oh, what politicians, they're not important, but they're the ones that help to pass these laws and get things done that we are crying about because we can't do it. I think when it comes down to Senator Jamal Bailey and these folks, someone said to me, and I called him up right away, no time he returned my call. And I said, Senator, the people is complaining about the distance they have to walk for the early voting. And after he explained to me, they said, oh, I didn't know. I said, well, me myself wasn't aware. I was wondering why they didn't open up more places. But as he explained with the early voting, if you don't have the people coming out, this don't make sense having all these places just open, because there was a low turnout. And that was one of it. But for tomorrow now, I'm sorry, I have to squeeze this one in. Tomorrow we know is election day, and there was so much going on about it. But, as I explained to someone, a good candidate doesn't mean that because a good candidate don't have 50 million commercial going on in a day, it's not a good candidate. It has to do with promotion, it has to do with money. And some of us, we refuse to give a candidate $10 to help them with their campaign. But we are looking to see all the commercials out there and we don't understand that running a campaign is a lot of money. What do you have to say about that, Attorney Hugh Campbell? Because I know, did you vote early or you just want to be in the line tomorrow also?
No, I'm a line person.
Oh, you like the line. Okay. I wish there was someone called me from Co-op City and she said, can I get back my vote because I want to go back and do it over? And I said to
no.
You can't. Say, I want to go over and do something over that I didn't do on the paper. And this is something that we can't undo once we do it. But tomorrow, we know we're going out there. Hear the gentleman say that I'm all about Vanessa, and I was supposed to give someone else a chance tonight. But it's not about a chance. It's about we are voting for the person who can make a difference. We want from a yes. And yes, okay, so obviously I'm not seeing all who is watching, but I just got a text came in on the phone. Haha, that means that person is watching. So somehow they're not telling you exactly who is watching, but they're watching. Yes, Blondine, I didn't call your name. I'm sorry. But anyway, I just did. But tomorrow we have to encourage the people to come out and vote, because a lot of people wait. If it's not the presidential election, we don't get all excited. And as I explained to someone, the election is important because when we have an issue, we're not going downtown to call the mayor out his office to complain about what's going on in the street, the garbage and everything. Even though we know help come from there, but we know we're going to walk into Councilman Kevin Riley's office. We're going to be at his door, need to talk to you. You understand? So what's your take on tomorrow election? Let me hear it from your attorney. You can build your drink look rather cold, so it means you're being out in the heat.
Yep. No, I think it's one thing we should understand is very, very important to vote tomorrow, Avril, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Presidential elections are important, but I think the local elections are much more important. We're talking about bread and butter issues tomorrow. Tomorrow, you're talking about, the crime, jobs, housing, quality of life. I mean, these are things that affect us on a daily basis. So when you go out tomorrow, you're voting for the mayor, and people have to keep in mind that some of you might be voting for the first time in terms of ranked choice voting. So you might want to pull out that phone and just do some Google search and see from the Board of Elections, how should you vote, who are the candidates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think you have the mayoral race, which is extremely important. Then you have the controller's race, which is also very important. And these are all citywide races now. And what does a controller do? They basically handle the finances for the city. If you work for the city of New York, the controller is the one who is basically going to sign your check. If you work for the city of New York, city of New York is the one who is responsible for a lot of the budgetary issues. The controller is basically responsible for, how the finances are managed for the city. And then you have on the local level, you now have the bar president's race. So again, you need to know who is running for bar president in your respective counties, and learn about that particular individual and see who will be the best candidate. In addition to the bar president, you also have in Manhattan, I know that there's a very contentious district attorney's race in Manhattan. So again, if indeed you want to vote for the district attorney in Manhattan, then you need to do some research to see who are the candidates and who do you feel comfortable with voting for as district attorney if you're in Manhattan. There are civil court judges that are running in different counties. Again, these are the people who basically handle, what we call the small matters. These are the judges that you're going to see if you went to a civil court, if you got sued by your credit card company. These are the civil court judges that you will encounter. So you need to really read up on who the judges are that are running for civil court and who you're going to be voting for in terms of civil court. There's also a major race in Brooklyn where there's a surrogate race open. And again, surrogate's court is where you deal with estates and people who die with or without a will. So there's some very, very, and of course there is public advocate race and a number of city council races. We cannot overlook the city council races. So there's a tremendous amount of race that is going on. And I think what I'm going to try to encourage each and every one of you to do is to try to look at your, do some research. Pull out your phone or your iPad or whatever the case might be and do some research into who is running for what. So when you get into the election poll, you're not overwhelmed. Because what I see very often is that people go in and they get that ballot and then they try to figure out everything and then they get frustrated because you're under pressure. You see everybody's moving, everybody's doing stuff, and you really don't know who's running for what. So I'm going to say familiarize yourself with what is going on before you go in. And one of the things I also notice is that when you go into the polling site, there's always a ballot that's posted on the outside before you go in. Stop on the outside. Take a couple of minutes and look at that ballot. Digest it before you go in, because too often when you go in, as I said before, you're in a hurry, you're nervous, and then you start making the wrong choices. So know what you want to do before you get in. Know about your candidates who are running for office. And when you go and you want to cast that vote, and make sure that vote counts. And that's why it's important to know who is the best suited candidate to render the services that are critical to your community and to your needs.
And that's important. And that's a problem I'm having, is that everybody, they look at a commercial and they're driven by commercials, and which commercials are, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to sell. But they really say, but I don't know the candidate. You understand? And that's the part that puzzling to me, because someone called me last night from Mount Vernon. Avril, I need to know who these people are. And in speaking to her, I said, that's not Bronx, that's Mount Vernon. She said, well, that's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, so it goes not just from the Bronx, it goes all the way into Manhattan, Brooklyn, all over. We have Eric Adams who, coming out of Brooklyn. So everybody in Brooklyn is giving him over now to New York City. All right. We have Bronx Bowl president seat that is going. We have the 12th district, the 15th district, the 13th district. We have everything that's coming out tomorrow. So our thing is to get out early and vote. So you have all the time to cast your vote. We don't know if it's going to rain, but one thing I can say, I'm glad that I got mine's over and done.
Well, but let me say, and I just want to say one thing, Albert, because it might rain tomorrow, but honestly, I don't think rain should prevent anybody from voting. I think voting is so fundamental, it's so critical to our life, is that a little rain should not prevent us from voting. Because, if indeed you do not, I always say that even if you don't vote, you have indirectly cast a vote, because by not voting, you're basically voting for someone else indirectly. So everyone should go out and vote, and everyone should recognize the fact that if you're not part of the decision-making process, that means someone else is making the decision for you. So you can't complain if you sat back and said, oh, well, it rained, I didn't want to go out, and then someone else went out and made a decision that's in their best interest, and your interest was not really considered. So little rain should not affect what we're doing, because this is very critical. That's why there are umbrellas. That's why there are ponchos. That's why there's all that stuff.
And they will be out there.
We can make it happen.
Trust me, they're going to be out there.
And I think there's one thing that we need to caution the voters about, is that if you received something a couple of weeks ago about early voting, more likely than not, your old early voting site is not the site that you'll be voting at tomorrow, because early voting site and your regular voting site are normally two different places. So don't show up at the early voting site tomorrow, because they're probably going to turn you away and say, this is not the right place to be. And you might get frustrated and don't vote at all. So look to see where you should be voting tomorrow before you venture out to vote.
Absolutely. And wear your mask.
Oh, yeah. Be prepared.
Wear your mask.
Nothing should prevent you from voting.
That's right, because a lot of people still walking around and they believe that the pandemic is over, but it's not. So wear your mask. You don't want to hear you get turned away and you didn't vote because they tell you to wear your mask. Okay, so to everyone who is out there, we have Captain Dennis Mohammed, who is in town seeing what's going on in our city, that the crime is on the rise, the young people are shooting. There is so much things going on that it makes you afraid even to walk in the daytime. You want to know what's going on. Some folks say it's a lack of resources, lack of jobs, but I really don't think the young people spend as much time on their gadget to look at resources and jobs as much as they complain and play the games that they play. But there is so much opportunities that I see pops up daily, even free training.
Avril, I'm going to share something with your audience this evening, and I think one thing we should keep in mind is that there's always a silver lining in every dark cloud. And I look at the pandemic and I said, you know what is a silver lining from the pandemic? And I had a discussion with someone today about this, and I said, one thing that I've noticed is that in a lot of traditional jobs, like, pretty good jobs, there's been a lot of retirements. And people retire because, number one, they didn't necessarily want to go back to work. Due to the pandemic, they retired because, they already had their time in and they were just kind of floating along, and they retired. And I say that to say there are a lot of good jobs out there, and we should be encouraging a lot of our young folks to get online for some of these positions, because I'll give you a classic example. There are a lot of folks that retire from the court system. So you can become a court clerk, a jury clerk, a court officer. You name it in the court system, a lot of folks retired. So I think rather than us, just keep talking about some of this stuff, we got to encourage some of these people. How do you apply for a job in the court system? Because you encounter these people, and many times people are in the court system all their career. They don't leave. These are jobs that folks don't quit, and they very seldom they get fired from these type of jobs. They have very good benefits, very good, retirement, pensions, and things of this nature. So the question really is, how do we say to some of our youngsters, look, you know what? Folks are retiring in droves from that industry. Why don't you start applying for those jobs? Why don't you start trying to get into the court system? Why don't you try to get into, even the police department had massive recruitment, and they had to extend it because there was not enough folks applying for those jobs. There are good benefits in the police department.
But
and some
people
people might say, I don't want to get in. But you know what? I never forget I had a professor in law school who, one of these very militant sister came in one day, and he said to her, he said something about going to the DA's office. And she said, Professor, I'm not going to the DA's office because I wouldn't want to prosecute my own people. And the professor said, nope, stop right there. You will probably be the only conscience in that DA's office when you see somebody trying to prosecute the wrong person. So you could save your own people by being in the office. So sometimes we need to be in the room in order to get good result in that room. And we need to be the conscience in that room. So that's how police officers, we can have some brothers and sisters becoming police officers, and probably some of this abuse that we get from the police department that we're constantly complaining about, that might change. That might change. So we should encourage folks, join the court system, join the police officer, whatever other, police department, whatever other jobs are out there, because these are places that pay good benefits. That's just after a certain number of years, you can retire with your pension and all that stuff. So we need to encourage folks to get involved.
Well, that's why we have the Captain Dennis Mohammed here in the Bronx. We are going to use that time to see, and for him to see what's going on and what's lacking. Because when you hear people say defund the police, and then you turn around and what you realize is that you are not seeing more of our young men or young women joining the police force. So my question is, if we're saying defund the police and we want our own in our community, but our own is not joining, then we're going to continue to talk, but we're not going to have no solution to our problem because we're not doing it. So it's just a matter of talking. I don't know if the young people are so frustrated with the officers, so they say, oh, I'm not joining the force. And every time you hear the cops are corrupted, the cops are this, the cops are that. So when is the change going to come? What you want all the officers to walk away before you get in there? It's not going to happen. But you can go in and make a difference. So why not join the force to help the community in which you serve? And it's another way to do it. And I think the last time we discussed it, I said to one officer is that maybe it's the wrong people pushing the message. Mm-hmm. Because if an officer come up to a kid telling them about being an officer, they may take it different than Captain Dennis Mohammed talking to them about it, or you yourself.
Let me say this to you. There's a reason for everything. And sometimes, we see one side of the picture, and the picture we see is a very rational thinking picture. But there's also irrational side of the picture. Young people don't see any honor jobs is fine, benefits is great. They don't see it as an honorable profession because of the negativity that law enforcement had brought on itself. So the young people don't see being a police officer as honorable. They see it being a police officer is Uncle Tom, you 5-0, you know. So what happened is that it's hard to get young people to join a system that they see that has been abusive to their own kind. And I like what you said, Brother Hugh. Yes, but but you could be the catalyst of change for that system. You could be the conscience of that system. But here's what we have not done as a people. We have not honored our own. We have never had a Black law enforcement, Black rescue, Black fireman appreciation day. We, Black people, we never brought our own kind and let them know, you know what, brothers and sisters in law enforcement, man, we really appreciate you for putting up with our man. We thank you, man, for your commitment. Those Black fire, we thank you for your commitment. Those EMS rescue, we thank. If the community had a big old celebration and we said to the community, listen, we're going to have a banquet. We're going to honor our own. So if you got a father, somebody in law enforcement, turn their name in and have them come, and we're going to give them a plaque and say, thank you. Now, when we do that, the young people sitting there, the children that's sitting there, say, Dad, they honoring Pops. They honoring Mom. That means we like them. So I join the police if I get honored by my own kind. That's the problem. When our own people come and we spit at them, Uncle Tom, and we show them the same disdain that we do the white cops, then why in the hell would I want to be a cop to get disrespected? So we have to understand why they think the way they think. You want to change it? You want to recruit them? Then show them it's honor. And how you show them honor, appreciate my father, my uncle, who's a police officer that got to put up with us all day long. That we come back home and he talk about, man, them Negroes did, them Negroes. Hey, so if we want to change it, why don't Black History Month, we have a day where we show, we call it Black Law Enforcement Rescue and Fireman Appreciation Day. That day, any Black fire, you give them a flower, you give them a plaque, you salute them, that day, and make them feel good. So when they ride with that white counterpart and they start acting that white counterpart, start acting the fool, the brother look at the white counter and say, ho, partner. My people love me over here. Keep all that Rambo, that Taco Berry crap to yourself. Don't come over here with that. But he got to know he's loved. He can't be, he can't when he show up, you show more disrespect to the Black police officer than you do the white. How you think the brother feel? You respect the police and say, what's up, brother? So you Uncle Tom Negro? How you think he feel? So if we're going to talk about recruitment, let's lay it out there. Let's start showing respect for our own kind and make them know we with them. And then them brothers want to see, just look at the chains of stars and brass that's in the New York Police Department right now. Look at the chief, the commander, the chief of operation. Now we got Blacks with stars and stripes. But you know what they're going to say? Well, you know, every city where we have Black police chiefs, the shootings is at an all-time high. So it ain't got nothing to do with your color. You don't even have control to stop your own people. This is what's happening. So the brother up there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the Chief Murphy, the crime is so crazy, you could put him on. He can't talk about how he can reduce crime. You know why? Because you can't reduce crime without the community. And if the community don't trust you, they ain't gonna tell you, even if they seen the shooter, they'd rather for the shooter to run loose than to tell the police. That's crazy. Now, if we want to change it, do we really want to change it? Because if we want to change it, we have to have honest and open dialogue. We can't keep telling, well, we need, no, there's a reason. And when you can tell these young people, if you really want to get them to be the police, Hugh, you know what you tell them? Say, hey, man, don't you want a legal gun and a legal badge? So you can
Yep.
fight for it.
Yep. Yep.
They said, man, what can I? Here's the question I want to ask. Do they have to still take a drug test, Hugh, because now marijuana has been reduced to nothing? Is that the same thing? They still doing that? So when you start getting one of those jobs you're talking about, they make you take a damn drug test? Do they have to do that now? Now that the marijuana thing is somewhat semi-legalized, are they using that as a reason to keep us out of jobs? Because they know all our people smoking weed, so that was one of the criteria. Well, you got to take.
But I think you just raised a very critical point, because I think if indeed that's still the case, then that's an issue that needs to be addressed with the legislators, where they should say that those questions cannot be asked on a job application, nor can they require a drug test. So I think that's an issue that the legislature should be looking at, if that's not the case now.
I think that's very important, because I love what you said. I mean, that's a great job. But I always thought, man, if the young brother want to go for them jobs, maybe he got a high school diploma, or we could prepare him. But then they say, well, you got to take a drug test. And I'm thinking, but didn't the DA just say we just dropped?
Yep.
Good thing for me to, we have to bring these things to, we have Senator Jamal Bailey and everyone else who can make a difference. These are points. And that's why we said, when we sit with the DA, Captain Dennis, there is a book that we walk with, that we have so much information to share and to talk about, because each one help one. You come up with an idea, Attorney Hugh Campbell may not be thinking about it. It's not about whether he's the attorney or not. This is how we come together to work the community. And it takes all of us to make this happen. And tomorrow, we start making that change at the polls.
Yep.
When we go out. I think the polls open at what, 6 o'clock?
6 a.m.
All right, so 6 a.m., we're going to be out there at the polls tomorrow. I'm going to be all over, I got it together already. I'll be all over, and I can't say where I'm at. I was all over today and drained. But the thing was, why should I say where I'm at and what I'm doing? It's not a good idea. Tomorrow is going to be the same. I'll be just popping up. I'll be doing the pop-up shops tomorrow. Even in the 12th district, I want to see what's going on. I want to see the lines. I want to see what's happening. I want to hear from the people. So tomorrow night, we might be up all night, even though we know. A lot of people say, someone said to me, Avril, so we're not getting the votes in tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. I said, no, impossible. It's too much. We're voting now for at least 40 people when we go in the poll, if we was to do that. But I'm not voting for 40 people. Because if you look at it, if they say you can vote for 5 people, then you have mayor. You have council, you have mayor, you have all these people that is running. And you got to vote from 1 to 5. Imagine if you're doing it for 8 people. 8, 5 is 40. But I am not doing it because I don't think I have 5 people that I want to vote for. If I'm voting for council, why would I put 5 people in the council seat? There was a time we go in, we vote for who we want to be the councilman or the councilwoman. Now you're telling me to pick 5 choices? I'm not doing that. Captain Mohammed, I'm not doing that. I don't think I see 5 people and no position that I want to vote for. That's confusion. Then they tell you this one can push this one out, and if this one don't get enough, they split those votes with the others. So you're going to take my vote and give to somebody else? No, I'm giving my vote to the first or second candidate, but I'm not doing it for 4 and 5 or even 3. There is some of them that cannot even get a second. I vote for 1 and I'm out.
Have to do that? Do you have to vote?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to, but they confuse people so much. I saw a lady at the poll and she's there, but I don't know these rest. I said, Mom, vote for the person that you know and get out the poll. She says, so I don't have to sit here and do all this 5, right? I said, you don't have to. It's a choice. Good evening, Lorena Clark, my BFF. Good evening to you.
Do they know? Do they people know that?
Yes, they educate them, they talk about it, but still there's a lot of people who still haven't heard or understand, or they're confused, as you say. They get to the poll and they think they got to stay there and vote for 1, 2, 3. No, you don't have to do that. I go in there, and if there is 5 people for example, mayor, but I only like 2. Maybe I'll give my top choice 1 and the next one 2, and I'm out of there. And if I'm voting for council and I only like 1, I give the 1 and out. If I have 2 that I like, I might do that. But there is some of them that I just put 1 and get out.
You can
I'm
vote for 2 mayor candidates. You can
One or two.
one or 2.
No, one and you can vote. You can vote. You can rank first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice.
What is the purpose of that?
That was that. You know, it's interesting you say that because that what shows you when people don't pay attention to voting. Because now a lot of folks are saying, "Oh, what's this ranked choice voting?" That was one of those, you know, proposition they put on the ballot a couple of years ago, and it actually passed. And again, when folks don't pay attention to what we vote for, these are things that happen because now everybody's like, "This is not a good idea,"
and they voted for it.
Yeah, they passed it.
I remember they
It was
voted
on the
for it.
ballot and it passed.
So that means they didn't even know what they were doing, but they just said yes.
There was not enough information about it, and folks just kind of said, "Okay." And I think that goes back to what you said, Avril, because there were certain people who wanted it, and they ran the commercials and the commercials and the commercials, and folks believe what was on the commercial until now everybody's like, "Oh, I don't like that." Because if you watch a commercial, you have to look beyond the commercial. You have to look at the substance, not just the commercial.
That's right, Lorena. Tell that to Blondina. You can't confuse the people. You know, I mean, I'm not doing it. I said if I vote for 1, that's the 1, and I'm out of there. If there was something that I can do 1 and 2, I will do it. But I don't need to give somebody votes to take the person I want out and split my vote to give to somebody else. It's confusion. Vote for the person you like if you're confused and get out the poll. You don't need to sit there and figure out, should I give this person a 2? Should I just put this person in to say that I did it? And some people just feel they got to do the 5. So they just do it, but they don't understand what they're doing. It's confusion. Vote for who you believe in, can do the job, if that's what it comes down to, and get out of there. And if there's another candidate, you say, well, he's good also, but I prefer 1, then vote for 1 and 2. That's up to you. But don't sit there trying to vote for 5 people when you don't even know who the 5 are.
Well, you know what you call that, Avril, if you was playing lotto, you boxing. So that means if your woman don't come out straight, you leave it in the mix.
At least somebody else come. But no, I'm not. I don't like that. But tomorrow, people, we urge you to go out and vote for the person who can do the job. And, you know, one thing I'm so disappointed in is we as a people. I'm going to tell you, Captain, our people run with people that they see people are running with. And I'm saying this to say, they're not sure. It's like a fire broke out and they don't even know there's a fire. But everybody running coming down the road. You coming up, you see everybody running, you start running with them. But you don't even know why they're running. It's the same thing with the election.
Wow.
This one look like the people are for him. So I'm going to just vote for this one.
Wow.
When the election is over, you're going to hear, I only vote for him because everybody say vote for him. They didn't take time to read and educate themselves. It's like, go ahead.
No, I just wanted clarity on one thing, Albert, because I think this is where we run into another confusion also. Because let's say, for argument's sake, there are 4 candidates running for a particular office. You have candidate 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the voters need to keep in mind that even though on the ballot, you might have candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3, candidate 4, but your choice is candidate 4. You have to make sure that you list candidate 4 as number 1 vote, because some people might say, you know what, this person up here is 1. Let me just, you know, pick them as number 1, pick number 2 as 2. But by the time you get down to your candidate, you basically didn't vote for your candidate because your candidate should be ranked number 1. So even if your candidate is at the bottom, you might have to find your candidate at the bottom of that that ballot and vote for that candidate as number one. And folks got to know that, because they can make that mistake and their vote basically won't count the way they want it to count.
That's why I don't know why they come
you
with
gotta
it,
pay
but
attention to where your candidate is. You got to find your candidate first on the ballot and vote for your candidate as number one.
that's right. Because when I went in there, I just look at all the names first. And then when you check off one, then I worry about the rest.
Right.
The most important thing was to put my number one choice as one.
Oh,
Then
absolutely.
Then I start looking at the rest. If you know who you're going to vote for, that's the first person you're going to look for on the phone.
And that would be the number one choice.
That's it. And when you finish there, you could talk about whatever you want, and you could vote for whoever you want, or could get out the place. You don't need to stay there and confuse yourself. So tomorrow, I urge you as the candidate to say, put me as number one. So just make sure that you check off your number one first before you go start, put in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and don't know what you're doing. And you don't need to vote for 5 people if that's where your confusion is. You don't need to. It's not a must. But a must is number one. So who's your number one tomorrow? That should be your question when you walk in the poll. That's all you need to think about. Who is my number one? Captain Dennis, is going to be a great day tomorrow in New York.
Well,
I may not be taking phone calls.
I'm praying for the success of New York, and I pray to God every worthy, keyword worthy candidate gets picked. I have mixed feelings about politics. I try to, politics is like religion. It's very controversial. And so I try to stay away from things that's very controversial, especially after, we worked very hard to get a voting rights bill. And then Martin Luther King worked very hard and gave his life for Black folks have the right to vote. And at the same time, we have misused that right and privilege. And it's sad, it's very sad, as I heard Hugh says, local politics is more important than national politics, because it's as his word was, it's the bread and the butter. And I totally agree with that. But we cannot ever dismiss the ignorance of our people when it comes to politics. You are some very astute men and women, very educated, just know a lot, but never underestimate that ignorance was once upon a time was not a choice, but ignorance is a choice today. It ain't that our people don't have accessible to them the knowledge. It's just that we're not spreading it in all the right places.
Let me tell you something. If you go on social media right now live with a party or some women dancing and shaking the behind, they will watch my show later because they want to watch that. I guarantee you. They'll say, yeah, I'm going to watch our show. I'm definitely going to, but I got to see this. The stuff that I see, the people follow. I was showing a young lady the other day, there's a celebrity, everybody was on a page, and they commenting, I love you. And what she posted, oh, if you see some of my friends, I love you. And they're liking and they're commenting. And when I watch it, she have not responded to one of them. I doubt she read it, because all her interest is the followings to say, oh, I had 2,000 followers. But she don't have the time to go to these followers. She don't know you. She don't know your comment. But the person that sits and give you the information that you need to feed you in your community, they would watch it later, because they got to focus on the party and what's going on over here with the celebrity. And I love you, and I love you, and I love you. And up to now, the celebrity have not responded. And when the celebrity come again and post something 2 days later, they're on it again. I love you, I love you. But meanwhile, they're falling apart. Then 2 days later, they call and they want to know, how could I get help for this? How could I do this? And when I say, but We just talk about that. When? Oh, I gotta go and watch it. I said, well, watch it. Because I can't sit here and talk and then tomorrow get a call asking me who, Avril, and where. That's why we're here tonight, to bring the information.
Well,
Uh,
let me say this, Avril, and to you, to Mr. Hugh Campbell. Let me say this. This is just me sitting here. I got informed. All right. Now I'm not, Hugh broke down what every position means. He broke down what a comp controller is. I pretty much know, because every time I go to do training with law enforcement, it's always the comp controller would write that check if they had in the budget to give to Captain D on that. Now, but the main thing is, what does a borough borough president do? See, he broke it down about the civil judge, and I mean, man, then look at that's knowledge. But we in 11th hour now. But say we would have had, after the election tomorrow, we start the campaign going into the barbershop and educate youth for next year. They need to know. Don't think, that's what my purpose, what I was saying. Don't think that they knew. We got to take the show on the road. We got to take Hugh Campbell, and I do barbershop talks. I did 70 in the country. Now, take Hugh Campbell into a barbershop with about 10 young dudes in there and say, now, Hugh, tell them what each one of these candidates does. Now, that would be for next. At least they have a knowledge. They say, oh, I didn't know. And then we could say, now, listen, any of you young people here old enough to vote, and have you registered? No. Okay, let's sign you up right now. Let's not assume. If we really want to make sure we can get the max out of these young people, we have to go to where they at and educate them. As old as I am, I got educated today, but I'm not a New York voter. So it ain't something, but you taught me something about the 5. I ain't never heard nothing like that. I'm gonna get on my friends in Ohio. So, do you know what they do in New York? They got a candidate 1, candidate 2, I ain't never heard nothing like that. But the bottom line is, never underestimate Avril. Your show is a very educational show. But we have to take your show on the road. And I'm going to say this, your show is so crucial that yes, advertisers should be on there. Now I'm trying to think, you advertising now? Because I seen that little advertisement. I want to pay you to throw the peacekeepers up there every now and then. Peacekeepers, a president for peace, squash the beef before the grief billboard. Join cat. How much that cost me to every now and then we talk, you flash that bad boy? Because everything ain't free. Freedom is not free.
That's it. That's what you're talking about. Those are the people who stand behind me. We have Best Deal Car Service, Teddy Nissan of the Bronx. We have attorney Hugh Campbell, and we have McCaw's Bronxwood Funeral Home that is doing great business in the community. I say great business because it's busy every day.
Well, I know that's
So, and Best Deal is the one that gave away the 55-inch TV at the Cancer Foundation. And Teddy Nissan, I can call on them for support. They believe in me. They stand with me. So those few people that you see stand with me can't cut it. But a lot still call and say, I need you to talk about my event or my food. And I sit back and to say, I don't think they understand. Even when I'm in the studio, you didn't big up my party. Avril, you didn't shout out. They use these words as, when you do that, it's just a shout out. But do you want me to tell them where the party going to be, how much it's going to cost and all? It's advertisement,
Let me say it for you. Those of you who's listening to Captain Dennis, you want Avril to say anything, she can see it better on that Cash App. Cash App, oh, I know. See? Stop trying to get something for free. We the only people, we go to them people, we don't never ask for a discount. But let a black business open up. Y'all giving black people discount? Why you ain't asked Red Lobster? You didn't ask, you didn't ask the other restaurants. We got this free mentality. It's a slave mentality. So when it comes to our own, we want our own to give us something for nothing. White folks don't give you something for nothing. So don't let the sister have to ask. Be man enough and woman enough to know she got to pay bills. She never asked y'all for nothing. I'm asking. Show some love to Avro. And if you need to be Avro, and if you don't even do that, send a little something and say, sis, I love you. So here's a little donation. I don't know what you can do with it. X, Y, and Z. Stop us being Negroes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain Dennis Mohammed. We have so much to talk about. After the election took me on a different role. But when we come back, we have some information to feed them. You have a lot that you're going to be doing here. We're going to share to the people coming up on the show about the billboard. Stay tuned for that. We have a billboard coming here in New York that we're going to talk about. We don't want you to miss it, but it's a lot of information, man. I thank you for taking the time with me to go to the 49th precinct and sit down there, and they learn a lot. So it says a lot. Big up Jay and the crew down at the 49th precinct. We thank Darcel Clark, the district attorney, who will be meeting with you, Hugh Campbell, even Joe. We're going to raid Joe Barber shop pretty soon. And we're going all the way to Mount Vernon, but we have work to do. And to all the crime and violence and the family that losing their loved ones, my heart cries out, my heart, because we're not free, we are not exempt. Because I sure those kids that was on the street, that mother was not expecting that around her children. So think about us. If that can happen around those kids, when you see the kids, they were so confused. The mother didn't know if she should fall to the ground, grab the kids and run. She didn't know. The person didn't know where to go. Confusion was all around. Now, who is expecting that? Well, we are living in a society where anything is possible. So when I see that, I didn't say, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. No, I'm surprised. And especially when you see things happen around a school, where when you look at it, you say maybe kids are there, So if they can go into a church, nothing surprised me anymore. But that's why something has to be done, because my heart cries out for families today. And that's why we can't take politics and our vote lightly. Instead of fighting, we got to sit down and educate ourselves. Who is the right people for these positions that we are fighting for? We need a good Bronx Board president. We need a good councilman. Just like I don't live in the 12th district, but I see Kevin Riley today making in a juice bar. Captain Dennis, you may not get none. Now we got to speak about that, but we let him get through the election. But I look at this young man. He has a lot going on. He has so much in his head. That's why I have to go there sometimes to take some of his food, because his food is his knowledge, is the things he want to do. He have so much going on in his mind that he want to do for the 12th district. I really, really, truly, and I could talk about him. And the greatest gift is because I'm not in his district. When somebody's not in your district but could talk about what you do, it says a lot. The 15th district, oh man, I'm ready to see who is going to run this seat, because we have some work to do. I congratulate who is in there now. And we say we got to continue with the work that already started. And for the Bronx Board president, this race is a very sweet race, because everybody know, man, I love my Ruben Diaz. He said to me at the other day, he says, Avril, when you look at me like somebody died, like I'm going somewhere. I'm not. I said, man, just leaving, just knowing you're leaving, it feel like a void. So I just want to know that it can be filled, where I feel the love when I talk about the Bronx Board president. That's what I'm looking for. Not that I'm sitting here and nobody going to say, oh, Ruben was not 100% and he wasn't. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I like his personality. I like his work. But I said, there's a lot that I know that I can do. here in the borough of the Bronx. I just want to continue what I'm doing. There is so much work to be done from the Northeast all the way down to the South. We want to see a working team. And there is one thing I'm going to ask Kevin Riley, Senator Jamal Bailey, and whoever else win this election is to bring back something that was done before, to bring it back. That will be the first thing, but I'm not going to say it. Because Captain, I've said so many things that when I turn around thinking they're going to help me with it, they took it and not, I wouldn't say who, but some people take it, do it themselves. And I sat there like, wow, why did I speak about it? And I'm standing right there. And they did not even acknowledge that it was because of me. Not that I'm looking to hear thank you or Avril because of you. But man, Dennis, if you come here and you bring something, Hugh Campbell's supposed to say thank you to Captain Dennis Mohammed for this idea, you know? But when he gonna take it and run and say, oh man, I'm doing this, and you're sitting there waiting for him to come to sit down with you to get it done, and you see it out there getting done, you didn't even know it happened. It tells you, you gotta put things together before you tell certain people. Because man, if it's a good idea, it becomes their idea.
These Negroes will run with it. Huh?
They'll run with it. So, you know, we got work to do, man.
Captain had the double arches. We got the one arch. He had the sesame seed bun. We have the plain bun. So it is not.
Yes, do it a little different. But man, Hugh Campbell, we can't go wrong with your information. I know that we can sit here all night, and I know the people sometimes get tired just like we do. But I know someone said to Captain Dennis the other day, I saw you on the Album Show. I didn't watch it right away, but I watch it late after, you know, and it's just amazing that, you know, I always tell people I don't do the show to have 1,000 followers now, because Hugh Campbell and us, we did a show, the last show we did, and I was going through it and someone said to me, wow, I didn't know this show was on, because they saw it on the Avril Show. But by the time they showed it, it was over 1,400 and something views. But the night after the show, I think it was 40 something. But the minute I finished and Facebook sent me that plug and I hit yes, then the show went out. So I said, okay. It's all about business for Facebook here now. It's not about free. You see, so I had a setup that when the show finished, they send me something and I hit yes and it go. You see what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden, someone is seeing it who didn't see it before. You know, I look at Kevin Riley going live and I look and it's like, say, when he finished 10 views, where did you ever see something like that? You used to have a show come on, and by the time the show come on, you see the people coming on, and you finish, and you could tell how many people watch it. Now they hold back on your views.
Wow.
That's what it is. It comes down to business. So that's why I said, instead of doing it on Avril Francis' page, I'm going to do it on my business page, which is the Avril Show, and just start billing. It's all about business now. So for those who are over there waiting, I might share it later. But in the meantime, I have to do it the right way. Facebook is about business. They're not into your free thing anymore. You put up your phone and you're going live and you turn around when you finish. You say 5 people view it. You say 5 views. You know that's impossible. Captain, you know that's impossible.
They working it, man. They working it.
They're working it. So I recognize that even the last show. And I went on one day later and watched the show. And so many people watch it who didn't see it while we were live. All because I give them the okay to say, yes, it's all about business for them. So
yes, and a dollar attached to it.
Everything is attached to money. Because the minute you're not paying them, but you're paying StreamYard, then they're going to say, well, we got a benefit too. Because you're paying them for their service, but you're sharing it live on Facebook. So we want to be paid too. So everything is a cost. So when people see me here, they think I'm doing a free show. I'm not. So it has to be done business-wise. So coming up, I just want to announce that we'll be doing our launch pretty soon. As I said earlier, I am now managing Radio 1000 in the U.S. Virgin Islands, can be heard in St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, Just Van Dyke, all over the US Virgin Islands and more, because now we have the app. So all you have to do is download the app on your phone. It will be live on Facebook, and we also have the website that we're getting ready to launch, where you can even play games on the website while you're listening to the station. We're bringing you the games that you play and you pay others to watch. Well, we're bringing them to you, so you can go there with your kids and they can play games and at the same time listening to the music. And if you're a DJ out there and you want to be heard on the program, the show is heard right here in New York City. And that's the greatest gift about it. It can be heard anywhere around the world. So we are everywhere, just with that little one app. So it's coming to you, Avril, now moving to another level. And on Saturdays, you will have your program, Strictly Music. And on Sundays, we're giving you some gospel programs. So come on board, Hugh Roy. There is space there for you. But the station been around for many years. It's just now turned over to new management. So Attorney Hugh Campbell, I think soon and very soon I'll have to have you join me on a show in the Virgin Islands to talk about some crucial things that we need to talk about. So good evening to you, Stacey Plaskett, and everyone down there. We're coming and we're doing it. So Radio 1000. Thank you so much. And tomorrow go out and vote, vote, vote. And text me as you all continue to do. I'm not tired of the text, Avril. Who should I? Just text me and I will give you the answer. And we'll be posting later this show for those who miss it. Thank you, Attorney Hugh Campbell. I'll be seeing you around. And tomorrow I might be calling you for water.
Okay.
Because today was a very hot day, I must admit to you. But it was worth it. Captain Dennis, we got work to do.
Well, listen, I thank you so much, Avril. I'm leaving out of town tomorrow to Dallas, and I'll be gone to the 27th. And may y'all be safe. May you have a successful day tomorrow. And I can't wait to get back, to get down to the business at hand and sit down with yourself and Mr. Campbell and the DA, so we can do what we could say, some tangible things. Because no matter who win the primary, work still got to be done.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
very true.
Thank you so much. Good night. And to everyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in and being part of the Avril Show. Safe trip, Dennis, and we'll be talking later.
Thank you, both of you.
Okay. All right.
Good night. Well, Attorney Hugh Campbell, I'm telling you, tomorrow, New York will be on fire.
Okay.
There will be a steam going through. The water steam, but we're going to dry it up because we're going to go out and do what we have to do at the polls.
Yep, it's going to be a hectic day, but we'll figure it out tomorrow night.
Yes, we will.
All right, take care. Good.
You too. Good night.